Toilet paper. Everyone has used it at least once in their life. Most of us use it every day. But do we pay any attention to what we buy? Does the big toilet try to take your money by manipulating you to buy suboptimal paper? Today, I'm going to answer this very important question through a series of carefully chosen experiments which will allow us to pick the ultimate roll. During pandemic, we, as humanity, faced many different challenges. Global trade and chains of supply took a big hit. Shortages of essential supplies stoked fear in people's hearts. One thing was more important and sought after than any other. Was it food? Water? Medicine? No, of course it was a toilet paper. Do people even know if it is worth fighting for? Which roll is the best? Today, we are going to find out. I've gathered most common kinds of paper rolls that you can find in one of the Poland's biggest shop chain. We will judge different attributes and characteristics of toilet paper when used in its primary function, as in toilet, not in some other more degenerate applications.
I'm over here stroking my dick.
I have here 4 kinds of rolls that I bought in one shop. The first one, king of the public toilets, at least here, in Poland. Recycled grey paper. Seemingly the cheapest, but also the least comfortable option. Next, the first standard white paper. 2-ply, most popular, still on the cheaper end, yet not as rough as previous one. The third contender, a bit more luxurious, 3-layer paper. Comfortable, yet still not the most expensive one. Finally, toilet paper that I'm sure only people with butlers buy. 4-ply, premium feel. Very posh. Yes, indeed. Now, it is time to choose the best toilet paper roll. That is why I'm going to perform some experiments that will allow us to measure and compare different characteristics. I will sum it all up and talk more about results at the end. But firstly, I've got some guesses how would our samples rank between each other. I would say that grey paper is going to be cheapest but also most annoying to use. And between 2, 3 and 4-ply wouldn't be too much difference to justify increased price. So, let's begin. The first thing we consider when buying something is its price. Same goes with toilet paper, especially when it seems that some options are much cheaper than others. The prices are as follows. $2.29 for grey paper, $0.194 for 2-ply, $1.79 for 3-ply, and $1.99 for 4-ply paper, which in dollars and pounds is around this much. And since each roll is different, more accurate would be price for 100 sheets, which, as displayed, equals around this much. But I may have found other unit of measurement that shows closer resemblance to real-life situations. To accurately measure how much use we could get from each sample, most effective way would be to perform some kind of test that closely mimics real-life conditions. I pestered my friends and family to note down how many times they used each roll, and we rated them in 3 categories on scale from 1 to 10. Starting at softness, which is, well, self-explanatory, then ease of use, which includes how well paper cleans, does it get separated easily, and if it has any other problems when used. And lastly, overall personal rating. So, grey paper on average lasts for around 26 uses, which amounts to this much. It is rated as follows. Softness at 2.5 out of 10, ease of use at 2.5 out of 10, and overall also at 2.5 out of 10. 2-ply lasts for 7 uses and averages this much. It's rated 5.5 in softness, 6.5 in ease of use, and 6 overall. 3-ply is 13 uses, is this per use, and is rated in same order 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10, and 6.5 out of 10 overall. And 4-ply is 11 uses, amounts to this much per use, and is rated 7, 8.5, and finally 7.5. As we can see, the cheapest toilet paper is grey one and the most expensive is 4-ply one. But those results may vary significantly depending on your diet, body shape and amount of hair. Also, there are many different kinds and sizes of toilet paper. That is why we should think about other properties. We know how many uses we get from each TP and how many sheets are in each roll. Now we can measure dimensions of one sheet and calculate entire length and surface area. Dividing length by number of uses gives us length per one sheet, use. Number 1 is 2.58 meters per use and 110.13 centimeters squared. Number 2 is 2.53 meters per use and 96.64 centimeters squared. Number 3 is 9.94 meters per use and 128.51 centimeters squared. Finally, number 4 is 1.18 meters per use and 116.81 centimeters squared. As we can see, surface area doesn't really correlate with paper use. But to get a full picture, we should also consider calculating an average density will allow us to see how much paper do we actually get. Each paper has a different number of layers and a different texture, which can have a big impact on usefulness. Density can be calculated by dividing mass by volume of the object. So I measured and weighted multiple samples to get more accurate results. We will need outside and inside diameter, mass and height of entire roll, then only mass and thickness of cardboard filling. Next, we could calculate volume and mass of paper without filling, divide mass by volume and we get density. So, water is at 1000 and steel at almost 8000 kilograms per cubic meter. The 2-ply is the least dense of all, starting at 218.43 kilograms per cubic meter, then 3-ply at 258.2, next 4-ply at 304.98 and lastly grey paper at 392.11 kilograms per cubic meter. We will see in the end if there is any correlation between density and other properties, but I suspect there may be some correlation with... I've considered many ways to measure absorption, and the simplest one would be measuring weight before and after absorbing water. I will put sheets in water until completely submerged. Take them out and let them drop excess of water for 30 seconds. After that, I will measure weight of wet paper and compare it with weight before. Since we have a price for 100 sheets, we could also compare how much water can be absorbed by 100 sheets. Additionally, if we divide weight of water by weight of used paper, we get something that we could call a coefficient of absorption. It allows us to compare all toilet papers even though they have different dimensions and densities. Higher coefficient of absorption means better ability to absorb water in correlation to paper weight. Grey paper can absorb 248 grams of water per 100 sheets and its coefficient equals 6.41. 2-ply absorbs 339 grams and its coefficient is 12.14. 3-ply absorbs 516 grams and its coefficient is 8.52. And 4-ply is 523 grams and 7.41. Now it is time for the last property, which is... When I thought about strength of the toilet paper, I imagined ripping it apart and measuring how much force it can withstand. First problem that I encountered was how to fix paper in position, because it rips very easily when secured in clamps. That is why I designed special clamp which I made using scrap and hand tools. If you want to know what was the thought process behind this design, I will soon upload a short video on this channel. With that out of the way, I realized that ripping one sheet apart is not a good reflection of normal usage. Because who uses paper like that? Is there someone who plays tug of war with his asshole? I hope not. Instead of previous method of testing strength, we should measure how much force is needed to puncture one sheet. Mount the sample as it is shown and apply increasing force to the penetrator until moment of puncture. Simple, but if we fix penetrator instead of paper and use gravity to our advantage, we can make entire experiment a lot easier to perform. This is how the measurement station looks assembled. Water can be used as weight. Now put first paper in mounts, then on penetrator and start to apply load until it punctures. Then calculate how much weight was applied. After getting all values, we calculate average force and get less than 5.05 newtons for gray paper, 5.25 for 2-ply, 17.23 for 3-ply, and 20.03 newtons for 4-ply. With this, all experiments are done, and we can talk about most important results and later draw some conclusions. I've chosen few characteristics that could help us rank and compare all papers. We will give each paper in each category number of points, ranging from 1 to 4 depending on how well it did. To make things easier, I will refer to toilet papers by numbers. 1 for gray, 2 for 2-ply, 3 for 3-ply, and number 4 is, well, 4-ply. Paper with the most points will win. First category is price per 100 sheets. It allows us to compare price excluding difference in size. Cheapest one is gray paper and priciest one is 4-ply. Second category is cost per one use. Well, it is self-explanatory. How much would you pay for one visit in toilet? Most economic option is gray paper and least economic is 4-ply. Third is rating. It contains sum of scores in softness, ease of use and overall personal feeling, in scale from 1 to 10. Highest amount of points goes to 4-ply and lowest to first paper. Next, the surface area of one sheet. Higher means bigger sheets and more wiping surface. So, the highest belongs to 3-ply paper and lowest to 2-ply. Then we have length per one use, how much paper we use at one sitting. The lower the better. Most efficient is 4-ply paper and least efficient is gray paper. After this is density, which tells us how much paper there is in each paper and how much free space there is in sponge-like cellulose network. Lower density is generally better. So the least dense is 2-ply and most dense is gray paper. Next, how much water can be absorbed by 100 sheets? I don't think that I need to explain this one. Most water can be absorbed by 4-ply and least by gray paper. In relation to previous point, coefficient of absorption tells us how much water can be absorbed by paper in relation to its weight. It allows us to compare papers with different sizes. So the highest is 2-ply and the lowest is gray paper. And lastly, strength, which tells us how much force can paper withstand, so you don't put your finger where it shouldn't be. The strongest is 4-ply paper and weakest is gray paper. Now, time to choose the best toilet paper. On 4th place is gray paper with 16 points, 3rd place is 2-ply paper with 23 points, 2nd place is 4-ply paper with 25 points, and the champion of toilet rolls, 3-ply paper with 26 points. Even though we know which paper won, I would like to consider some other options and see if my predictions were right. Gray paper is the cheapest, but its rating is also the lowest, just like I predicted. It is not as bad to use unless you get some stomach bug. Then you can sandpaper your hole and it would be the same. Difference between 2-ply and 3-ply is minimal and it is up to preference, but 4-ply is not worth buying in my opinion. Additionally, surface area seems to not impact how much paper we use. Instead, number of layers and general thickness have bigger impact on number of uses and also big impact on strength. And most interesting one, lower density allows for better water absorption, probably because less dense paper have more space for water to seep into. Just like sponge, but on a lot smaller scale. There are many different brands and sizes of paper. If you want the cheapest option, you can always see for yourself and divide price per roll by number of uses. And who said that math is not useful in real life? In the end, I would say that most important thing is your own preference. So buy what you want. It took a lot of restraint to not include any fart sounds when talking about such monumental topic. I hope you appreciate it, so you may like and subscribe for more videos in future. Psst, here you can listen to this fart sound as a reward for sticking to the end.